Hello and welcome to the Tomorrow News. Today, we'll turn our attention to tomorrow, May 24th. Do you know the incredible story of the Thessaloniki brothers, Cyril and Methodius? Stay with us to find out. Tomorrow is May 24th, the day we honor the power of words, knowledge and culture. We dedicate this celebration to Saint Cyril and Methodius, the creators of the Slavic alphabet. But to truly understand why their work is so important and remarkable, we must start at the very beginning. So let's take a leap through time and land in the 9th century. Geographically, we arrive in Thessaloniki, which at the time was part of the Eastern Roman Empire, known as Byzantium. In the family of the high-ranking Byzantine military commander Leon and his wife Maria, their first son is born, named Methodius in the year 815. In 827, the youngest of 7 brothers was born also, Constantine, who would later take the monastic name Cyril. Their father died when they were still young, and the children were placed under the care of their uncle Theoctitus, a high-ranking official of the Byzantine Empire. Even in his early school days, Constantine showed a strong inclination towards poetry and philosophy. Thanks to his talents, he was admitted to the prestigious Magnaura School, the highest educational institution in Byzantium. There, the children of emperors, noble aristocrats, and sometimes even foreign dignitaries were educated in preparation for future political or religious careers. After completing his studies, Constantine was highly proficient in Old Church Slavonic, Greek, Latin, and Hebrew. He also had working knowledge of Syriac and Arabic, and likely gained some familiarity with Khazar, Alanic, Persian, German, and other languages. Little is known about Methodius' early years, but it is said that, like his brother, he demonstrated great intellect. Because of this, he was appointed governor of a district not far from Thessaloniki. As the years passed, Constantine and Methodius were sent on numerous diplomatic and religious missions. In 851, Cyril was sent by Byzantium to the Arab world, most likely Baghdad, or its surroundings, to take part in theological debates with the Muslim scholars. His goal was to defend the Christian faith and demonstrate its superiority through religious and philosophical dialogue. Naturally, he impressed his host with his knowledge of philosophy, logic, and theology. A few years later, in 860, the brothers were sent to the Khazars, a people living in the northern Black Sea. They were under Byzantine influence, but torn between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The purpose of the mission was to strengthen ties between Byzantium and the Khazars, defend Christian captives, and hold religious dialogue with local scholars. During this mission, the brothers discovered the relics of Saint Clement I, one of the earliest Roman popes. They exhumed and carried his remains to Rome, further solidifying their influence and strengthening the bond between the eastern and the western part of the Roman Empire. Once again, their mission was a success. They demonstrated their ability to engage with different cultures and religious belief. It was during this time that Cyril and Methodius began teaching many disciples who followed their faith and authority with devotion. A memorable moment came in 1855 when Constantine Kirill created the Glagolic alphabet, the first script designed to capture the sound of the Slavic language and allow it to be written down. We could say that the Glagolic script is the father of the Cyrillic alphabet, which was later named in honor of Saint Cyril. Using Glagolitic, the Thessalonian brothers and their students launched an enormous translation and literary effort, translating the Bible and other liturgical texts. This brings us to the year 863, when Prince Rostislav of Great Moravia sent a request to the Byzantine Emperor Michael III to send missionaries who could teach Christian faith to the local, but in Slavic language. At that time, religion was only preached in Latin, Greek, or Hebrew, languages incomprehensible to the common folk. Rostislav sought both religious and political independence from the German Frankish clergy that dominated the region. The emperor and the patriarch selected Constantine the philosopher, later Cyril, his brother Methodius, and their disciples for that difficult task. They knew the Slavic language and had experience in similar missions, so they all were sent off for Great Moravia, a state whose territory today would cover parts of the Czech Republic and Slovakia. During their mission, they were summoned to Rome and Venice, where they took part in heated theological debates. Constantine the philosopher triumphed over the supporters of the so-called trilingual dogma, the belief that the Word of God should only be preached in Latin, Greek, or Hebrew. In Rome, their mission and the Slavic books were blessed by the Pope Adrian II, and old Bulgarian sermons echoed through the churches of the Eternal City. Unfortunately, shortly afterward, Constantine fell seriously ill. As mentioned earlier, he took monastic vows in the name of Cyril. He died on February 14, 869. Methodius bravely continued his brother's path and was proclaimed Archbishop of Great Moravia. However, he faced fierce opposition from the German clergy. He was just as determined, intelligent, and educated as his brother, and prevailed in every attempt to discredit the Slavic language. True to the apostolic mission, Saint Methodius worked to extend their efforts into southern Poland and Croatia. He also maintained a strong and open relationship with Bulgaria. Methodius continued his mission until his death on April 6, 885. With his passing, the Moravian mission came to an end. Their disciples were expelled from the state and left to fend for themselves. Later canonized as Saints Naum, Clement, and Angelarius, were warmly welcomed in Bulgaria. At that time, the ruler was Prince Boris I, who had recently converted the Bulgarian people to Christianity. He sought an independent church and clergy that would preach in a language people could understand, not Greek. So, he gave asylum and full support to the disciples of Cyril and Methodius. In doing so, he not only embraced the work of the Thessalonian saints, he made it a state policy. Thus, Bulgaria became the cradle of Slavic writing and literature, from which it spread to many other lands. It was also during this time that Clement, known today as Saint Clement of Ohrid, created the Cyrillic script. It was easier to learn and teach than the Glagolitic and was based on the Greek alphabet, as many people at the time also spoke Greek. In 1893, Cyrillic was officially adopted as the state script of Bulgaria. From there, it spread to Russia, Serbia, Ukraine, and other Orthodox lands. So tomorrow, May 24th, let us be proud of the Bulgarian script, education, and culture, because on this day, through the centuries, Bulgarians have celebrated the work of Cyril and Methodius. So let's remember how many people gave their labor, knowledge, and even their lives, so that today we may have our own language, alphabet, and written tradition. And remember, tomorrow is a bright day.